Good evening and welcome to the best evening talk show in the capital. My name is Miriam Uduakumens and of course, the show is The Dish. And we're coming to you live from our MX24 studios all in the streets, East Lagos and Accra. I'm super excited to always be here because I always tell you that the conversation is an enlightening one. It's one that is going to impact you as a woman. So listen, the discussions are impactful. They're very engaging and empowering. Insights are what we bring on the show. And of course, we touch on women's issues and global development. Join us as we continue to amplify women's voices, challenge the status quo, and spark meaningful change with progressive women. I always let you do this with me. The conversation is progressive women. Progressive women. Now, of course, I want to say a big thank you to DecoZone, of course, for this beautiful, beautiful set. The set is put together by DecoZone. I want to say a big thank you to you. Betway Cowbell Coffee, Flora Tissues, Tango Washing Powder, Telecel, Clap, Shandy, and LPG. Well, let's talk about something that we all want, okay? Something we all desire. Everybody wants this one, and it's called success. Everybody dreams of it. We all aspire to succeed in life, and of course, to make a mark in life. We push ourselves to excel, enduring challenges along the way just to be successful. Charlotte, when work gets tough, and I bet it will, you need that extra boost to keep pushing forward. And on those days where you need someone to be there for you, Cowbell Coffee will be by your side. It's a rich, creamy 3-in-1 blend with a great taste and aroma that would aid kickstart your day. So whether you're working or just creating memories and with friends and loved ones, Cowbell Coffee will be by your side every moment. So no matter where you're at, as you chase after those goals, keep Cowbell Coffee close to stay motivated and go. Remember, Cowbell Coffee is with you every single moment. As a woman, as you move on into this week, remember that, as you're motivating yourself internally, you have to add Cowbell Coffee to the, ingredients that spice up your day, okay? So this one is my little plug for you. I'm your Cowbell Coffee plug, okay? Now, let me remind you that this is an interactive show, so send in your comments and reactions, and of course, your opinions to any of our social media platforms is at MX24GH on all social media platforms, and the hashtag is The Dish on MX. Today's conversation, I've always said this on this platform, from morning show to every other show I found myself. Anytime I meet these ladies, I always tell them that this was my dream. Today, one of them on this set knows that it was my dream, except that the dream failed on the way. Like, it was just, listen, we'll get into that. But of course, beyond the crown, redefining success after pageantry. Yeah, you caught the drift. I've always wanted to be, a runway model or a photo model or something, in the modeling industry. I tried, just didn't work. Some people are called for it. Me, I was called to talk. These ladies have killed it all, all round 360 pageantry and, of course, modeling. So we're going to get into the conversation. But pageantry is often seen as the pinnacle of glamour and success. But for many, the journey doesn't end when the crown is placed down. Beyond the crown, redefining success after pageantry explores the reality of life after the spotlight fades. It's about embracing new opportunities, rethinking self-worth, and finding fulfillment beyond the stage. For many former title holders, the true challenge and reward lie in shaping a life that reflects the lessons learned and the confidence gained during their time in the pageant world. Ladies and gentlemen, join me for this conversation. And I want to say, these ladies, they've lived my dream through and through. So this conversation, it's worth having it with them. Nana Jukwa Somia Kwao, I hope I pronounced that name, Somia right? Yay. She's a mineral engineer, yes, and a model. And of course, the very, very affable and Engracia, Afua Kaley. Yes. I mentioned it well. Right. Hey. She is Miss Universe Ghana. She's also been on different stages. I met her on different stages. Anytime I see her, I'm like, yeah, of course, Engracia, of course. Of course. Good evening. I was going to say good morning. Good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Doing good.
Super excited to meet you.
Same here.
Girl is killing it. She left. You didn't leave. You haven't left pageantry. You haven't left modeling, have you? You haven't. So you do it alongside engineering.
That's correct.
Can you imagine? She's living the life. And then Engracia is just gracing all the big stages in Ghana. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing, ladies? How is it going?
I'm doing
good?
well. Yeah, good.
Now, to get into, let's find out. So for those who have dreams like myself, but you know that I wanted to be a model before. Did you know? Or you
I
didn't
think
know?
you might have mentioned
I might have
it.
mentioned it, right? Because Charlie, the way I wanted to be a model, I want to be on the runway, be twisting my legs. So my whole life I've walked like a model. Just that I've never really. Oh, I had the opportunity to do another one. I think Rhythms on the Runway recently. It wasn't bad, but still my dreams were not fulfilled. But we'll get into that later. We'll see if I can go back. Say I can go back.
Of course,
it's not
you
too
can.
late.
Never.
What quality should one possess before joining a beauty pageant? I'm going to start with you, Engracia. If someone wanted to get into pageantry or modeling, I'm going to give the modeling part to you, and then you would take the pageantry. If you wanted to get into pageantry, what are the qualities you're supposed to possess to be a qualified candidate for that?
Well, I think pageantry is really big now. I would say the ball has been opened to varieties of attributes or qualities that you should look for or you should have. Exactly. For instance, if I have to use Miss Universe, because I represent Miss Universe Ghana, right? Recently, there's been an opening for the age gap. I think the age used to be, the maximum age used to be like 18, and then now it's actually beyond. So we have 60s who actually participate, yes. We have 35 who recently Miss France won, and I think she's 34. So I think if I have to call it quality, you don't necessarily have to have some particular qualities, you just have to be you. Just have to be, because at the end of the day, we have every kind of lady. We can choose, there's no particular standard. Of course, the word has standardized, beauty, but there's no particular standard because we are all different. We can never be the same. So there's no particular quality that we are looking for. We just have to go there and just be you. And honest.
And honest. Just be you. If you want to get into that world, just be true to yourself.
Exactly.
Is what I'm getting. Now, modeling, because you haven't done pageantry, have you?
Not really.
Not really.
Yeah.
But you have done modeling extensively. You've
have.
been on Paris Fashion Week, am I correct?
That's correct.
Please give me the names.
Milan Fashion Week, Dubai
Milan
Fashion
Fashion Week.
And there was Glamour West Africa. Yeah, just to name a few.
Just to name a few, guys, because her portfolio is quite, huge. But tell me, before you got into pageantry, tell me your story, because I think I know a little bit of it. There was a point that I met you, I think we had a conversation on a different platform, and you told me how you got into the place and people didn't think that you were fit for the role. So run us through that story again. Getting into modeling, what was the standard that was given, and which ones did you break to get into the space?
Okay, I think back in the day, it used to be very strict, and it used to be so focused on how slim you are, how tall you are. But like Engracia said, I think now it's been more diversified. And we have plus size models here. We have petite models. So I think things have been a little bit renewed now. Unlike before, that things were very strict. You need to fit into a certain form of qualification before you're able to come into the space. But I think for me, I would say it was grace and it was purpose, and I was lucky also along the way, because sometimes you get scouted by model scouts, and then they scout you, maybe they like what they see, and then they get you into the industry, and then they work it up from there. So I think for me, it started from being scouted by a talent manager, and yeah, I was able to pick it up from there. But I think for now, things have been a bit diversified, and they are working with all sorts of models in the industry, and it's a bit flexible unlike before. Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm not 40 years, so I can still go. Now, before you got into pageantry, what was your perception about pageantry before you got into it?
I honestly and genuinely did not have any particular perception. I'm very open-minded about everything until I experience it myself. But of course, I think I know where you want to get to. We find ourselves in a society that really has a lot of perceptions, especially about pageantry. So yes, before going in, I had to check out on my family, ask about my parents if they were going to be allowing me to go to pageantry, and they were really open. My parents are like, they're really supportive. My dad is like my first fan, my mom, so I didn't have any perception, any particular thought about it. I just went for it.
Now, for you, so I'm doing this together with modeling because it's the same thing. Except pageantry is the event, but modeling is it's almost like a career, right?
Yes.
It's a career. So for you, you took up a career path that, first of all, you were not. You tell me about. Okay, I don't want to assume I'm speaking, but I also want to be careful. I don't put words in your mouth. Engineering and modeling. Which one was your first love?
Well, it was engineering first, and then modeling
came in. Right. So you were going into a career path, or you're going on a career path that had different conversations around it. What was your perception about modeling before you got into it? And then when you got in there, what did it look like? Were your expectations met, or you got surprised a little bit?
I think from the beginning, I got surprised a little bit. It might not perhaps been what I might have expected at the time, because you needed to put in more work. You needed to go for modeling trainings here and there and all that. But then coming from the engineering perspective, it was, I would say it was a combination of a bit of the two, right? Because with the engineering, it was more technical, but then with the modeling, it became more, I would say, practical for me, in terms of you having to build your network, your confidence, and then you bring that into the professional world. So I think from there, I was able to manage both, because it built my confidence level, first of all, and then also the ability to be able to network so well. Because once I was able to build that, I was able to also bring that into engineering. So from the beginning, because I wasn't so also used to that field, there were societal perceptions, yes, of course, but then it also comes down to you, the individual, how determined you are and how focused you are. Because once you shine and stand out as an individual, I think it's scatters any perception that there might be, and then you end up being the star that shines, and then rather cancels every perception or negative perception that there is.
Right. And I love that you bring that in, because for a very long time, pageantry in Ghana was questioned, and there was a time that there was a massive controversy. I don't know if it was about Miss Ghana or it was Miss Ghana. It was Miss Ghana, then trickled down to Miss Malaika, then to Miss Universe.
Oh, really?
Yes, it did. Okay. It did. That I'm privy to. Young lady, you're not coming to do this with me. Yeah, because Miss Ghana, I think in a party got into this fracas for a very long time. I don't know if they brought back Miss Ghana. They brought back Miss Ghana, right?
Yes, it's still going on.
It's back. Yeah. But it was off for a little bit because of all the drama that came around it. Now, that came to affirm certain people's perception about pageantry, and the fact that they were being pimped to big men in court. Did you people experience any form of abuse in that sense? And I know that you're going to be careful because you are affiliated to a pageant. But again, generally, do you feel like there's that bit of truth in women in modeling or ladies in modeling being seen as sexual objects? Let me put it that way. I'm going to start with you, because you took it personal for a very long time, and you went on the top speed with it when it came to the modeling space, and then you went into the professional world. Comparing the two, which is safer for you?
I think the engineering is safer, I would say.
So now, if engineering is safer, let's go back to the issue of females being seen as sexual objects, females in modeling seen as sexual objects. Did you ever face those kind of harassments?
No, I didn't face it for a fact, but then I think that perception is coming from the fact that models, we have a bit of modeling that goes into nude modeling and all of that. So I think sometimes people gather that perception from that angle, whereby models are exposed to do nude shoots here and there, and then maybe from the layman, obviously, they just gather the impression that, hey, you are open to those kind of things. That's happening, right? But I think it comes down to you, the individual, like I said. Yes, of course, I've heard of stories. There might be incidences here and there, but then it also comes down to you. So how attractive will you make that modeling for someone else to come into? So for instance, I'm just saying, I'm assuming. So let's say if I am a model that's into that kind of stuff, obviously the next person that gets closer to me would have that perception. But then if I'm a model in that industry that respects myself, I have all the self-discipline in check, and I'm doing everything that's required of me, if someone gets closer to me, I think they would draw some form of inspiration for me and would rather want to even come into the space because of how well you carry yourself.
Yeah.
So it comes down to you, the individual, how well you're able to carry yourself, the message you are communicating out there, and not just throwing yourself out there or just going about things haphazardly here and there. So I think, it comes
Engracia,
down to
in the space, in the world of pageantry, did you ever face any sexual harassment or anybody told you, Engracia, I want to give you to one big man in Lagos? Let me say Lagos because that's where the big men are.
Oh, okay. Well,
did you ever face that?
I think in the world, the space we find ourselves, of course, you have this this kind of people coming your way. You are exposed to those people. But personally, I haven't faced it because I am, well, apart from being a model or a beauty queen, I'm also a translator, right? So yes, I translate French and Spanish to English.
Ooh.
So I'm also in the
Now that part you didn't add to your portfolio when you came here. So I'm offended. Because
I'm sorry.
because she came with her full, but you came with my
It's okay. We learn along the way.
You're humble about
it's
it.
Okay.
No, don't do that. Because I'm going to school, we study French.
Oh,
so
right.
I can do that as well.
So we can practice together.
We can practice together.
Yeah.
So let's get into it.
Yeah.
So you're also a translator as well.
I'm also a translator. So of course, in the professional world, you get people coming your way. You get to interact with people. You get to work with people. But then the fact that I'm a beauty queen, some way, somehow, is a plus. It plays a good part on your side, but you have to know how to go about it.
Oh, wow.
I think I'll bring it to what she said. I think in that word, you really have to stand up for who you are, know what you want, and not just allow anything, carry you away, let me put it that way, because you are exposed to a lot of things. In as much as I think in the modeling world, you also take bikini. We have bikini models, we have runway models. It depends on what you want to sell. In the pageant world as well, just like recently I went to represent Ghana at Miss Universe.
Yes.
There's a section where we actually have a bikini competition.
Yes, yes.
So of course, it's like your entire body is exposed, right? But we don't look at it that way. We are promoting, the
Body
femininity.
positivity.
Exactly. So it's really not on a negative side, but of course there are men who are watching, and everybody has a different mindset about things.
Yeah.
And this attracts a lot of men your way, and it could be on a negative side. So you have to be smart about how you go about things, pretty much. So, but you have people coming your way, of course. With those, with that approach, let me put it that way. Yeah.
Do you find it invasive, and just sometimes you get like hurt or offended by men coming to you with certain proposals, like as though you're like a sexual object?
No, I think at that particular moment, you're already a public figure. You can't run away from it. So people are definitely going to come your way. People will come into your DMs. People will find your emails, strange calls, strange numbers calling you. So you have to know how to handle it. You need to know how to stand on your ground. You need to know what you want and where you're going to. And know as well that whatever you do, you are going to pay in the years to come, whether positively or negatively. So you should be aware of all of that. So it comes down to you, the person, what you decide to do with whatever comes your way.
The opportunity to be out here, it's all in your hands. You decide what you do with it. Now let's get into this conversation. When I tried to get into modeling, I tried runway. I think I did this runway gun or something like that at some point, and a couple of all of these things. One of the things that I noticed was that with time, it has evolved. Do you think in Ghana we have, because again, I was eyeing certain areas, so that's where my focus is, and I've seen how those jurisdictions have evolved. But over here in Ghana, do you think that with you people being in the space, do you think that we have evolved? Do you think we've grown? Do you think we've changed the narrative of pageantry in Ghana? Both of you can take it. So
sure.
Start.
Okay. I really think it's a slow process. Let me put it that way. It's very slow because in Ghana we are bound by our culture, our tradition. So it's very difficult. And not only for even the young ladies who really want to be part of it, but even the parents, because it starts really from the past generations. You need to be able to be confident, to be bold, to actually take the bold step, and even. Sometimes not agree with your parents and being a bit stubborn to actually break those barriers. So I think it's a really slow process. we've not been able to achieve it on the national level, sadly. So most of the time we don't get even the national support when you go for the competition. It's only when you make it, or probably when you do something great, then all of a sudden you are all over,
that,
you know. But when you start from the scratch, nobody's there, you're on your own. So it's quite a struggle. I really hope in years to come we get to that level.
And in your opinion, do you think, I'm going to have you answer this as well, but in your opinion, do you think this has deterred a lot of women, young ladies, the perception about the perception and the support that we don't have? Do you think it has deterred a lot of young women from getting into the space, into pageantry?
Well, sadly, I've had a lot of young ladies coming to my DM and telling me, oh, I really wanted to go, but then this is what is happening. They even have young men in the, in social media, on Instagram, texting them and telling them, oh, I would like to take pictures of you. If you want to go for this pageant, just come and see me. Let's hang out. Let's have dinner. And then you know what it means at the end of the day. When they think about all them, like, nah, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to become. And of course, you have other options. You probably might just choose to go and work instead of going to pageantry. But then, so I think it has really affected a lot of young ladies. But then I always tell them to go for it because it's a really great platform for young women. It is.
We'll come back to what pageantry did for you. But let's go to you on the conversation of, if you think, before that, but also add to it, if you think a lot of young ladies, do you also get people coming to you and saying that, listen, the perception about modeling, my mommy doesn't like it. Do you get those kind of conversation? How does that make you feel?
I think the industry is evolving, right? For instance, with pageantry, back in the day whereby it was skewed to only beauty, but now it seems to be a well-rounded representation in terms of beauty as well, intelligence, character, and all that. So the industry is evolving. We've come so many years along the line, and I think we don't expect things to still be the same as they were. So in modeling, it's still the same. It used to be of the perception that models do not have quality education, they are just throwing their life away, they do not know what they are about and all that. But like I said, I am a mineral engineer, right? And I'm still into modeling. And that bit of it is what gets people inspired and people getting to admire me. So imagine if I hadn't taken the step to come into the industry based on the qualifications that I have. How would someone else be inspired to also say that I want to be like her when I grow up, because she's killing it in both industries and all that. So I think, the industry is evolving both in pageantry and in modeling as well.
You see the progress there? Okay. Now, tell me what you think pageantry did for you, or what it actually, what it actually did for you as an individual.
For me personally, I think it really helped me boost my confidence level. Yes, I'm someone who is pretty much very self-aware. I'm already very confident, I would say. But I think with pageantry, it just really brought it out. It's a great platform. It has opened a lot of doors as well for me, even on my professional level. So I think it even goes beyond. It goes beyond, not personally, but then there are a lot of things.
I personally have been in certain, not rooms, not as rooms as you may say, but there are certain places I go and I hear her name and I'm like, yo, man, this chick. So it makes sense that you're saying that you're a translator, because there are certain rooms you'll be like, nah, model dear, obey them.
Right.
But then, you'd hear that, oh, she's on, you see the list of, and like, hey, chick, what are you doing here? So it makes absolute sense that you're actually, now it's making sense to me. Obviously, we're not going to say it on TV. So if you're waiting for me to say it, you will not hear it. Let's move on to you. Now, when you look at modeling on a larger scale, what do you think that over here in Ghana, young people could use modeling for? Because you just told me that now it's beyond beauty. It's beyond the just wearing clothes and going on the runway or taking photos. It's a well-rounded industry where you're looking at impactful conversations. But on your side, like, how do you feel like we can, young people can use this to drive big conversations?
Yeah, I think it helps in terms of you building your confidence. Because the same way you get to model in front of people, And in terms of walking on the runway, if you do not have the confidence that you need, you might shiver or you might fumble on the stage and all that. So as you get to do that, I think gradually it helps to build your confidence, and also, like I said earlier, networking.
Yeah.
It allows you to meet new people all the time. You meet diverse people all around, and you're able to understand the form of their language, understand their culture, and you're able to bond well with people when you come into certain spaces. So I think, yes, with that, on that scale, it really helps for you to get into the industry, leverage on the opportunities that are being offered to you, take advantage of every opportunity that comes your way, and use it to build yourself as an individual.
I'm still having conversations with language translator. Okay, she translates French and Spanish
to English.
in English. Don't play with Engracia. And a mineral engineer, Jukwa. We call her Jukes, right?
Yeah.
Jukes is her brand name. Amazing women who have been in the modeling industry and pageantry industry for a very long time, and they're killing this all around. Now, one of the conversations that just sparked up this week that I thought was very interesting was newly elected president of Ghana said that when he was in opposition, it was a very lonely road. We're going to find out from this woman after or beyond pageantry, especially Engracia, after Miss Universe. What was it like? The challenges they've had to face as young ladies in an industry that has had so many controversies surrounding it. Well, you're at the right place right now this evening to have this conversation with me right here on The Dish. We're going for a quick commercial break. When we return, these big conversations will be had right here on the show. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Dish right here on MX24. If you're excited to join this conversation, I am more than excited to have you join me because, listen, this conversation is with progressive women, for women that are looking at living a very progressive life. So I'm here to help you navigate that journey, okay? My name is Miriam Udwak-Mensah, and of course, this is The Dish. Well, back in the studio, I have Jokoa with me and Engracia, of course. I like to pronounce it that way. It's the right pronunciation. Engracia.
Perfect.
Okay, what does Engracia mean, though?
Graceful.
Graceful, yeah, of course. They are very graceful. Both of them are Engracia. But ladies, let's get back into the conversation. But before we get into it, I want to say a big thank you to DecoZone for this very beautiful set, Cowboy Coffee, Club Shandy, LPG for holding me down. Of course, to you out there who keeps showing up for the show, I'm happy to have you join me, okay? Now let's get back into it. The challenges. Like before we went on the break, I told you that, listen, right after pageantry, because you know every year, right? Is it every year?
Yes.
Every year we get a new Miss Universe.
Yes.
And you went in there, Miss Universe Ghana, and represented Ghana.
Yes.
Did you win your year?
Doing Miss Universe, the international pageant?
International
No.
pageant. You didn't, but you represented it, and you
Ghana.
did a great job representing
Thank
us.
you.
You killed it. You killed it. Everybody knows
You
this.
did.
I mean, everybody knows. Everybody knew that you were supposed to win.
Thank you.
You know. But yeah, after that, even Miss Universe Ghana had a different one and elected a different Miss Universe Ghana. What was it like after Miss Universe?
I think that's usually the challenge.
Yes.
Yes, for beauty queens, right? I would say for most beauty queens. After the 1 year, there's so much that goes on, and then you get back to your life. It's a bit like, I mean, I got a lot of people telling me, it's like they take you here, they put you here, and then they drop
Dump
you. So on your own, exactly.
Yeah.
And at that moment, you literally have to bring yourself back to that level and probably exceed it. It gets a bit tough. It really gets, because you need to find yourself. You need to know who you are. You need to know what you really want to do with yourself. And then, yeah, have probably a career or get something going on. But for me, by God's grace, I was really exposed, as I said earlier on. You entered rooms you probably couldn't have thought that you would have been. You sit down with people that you didn't know you could have, you know, sat down with. And I am a translator, French and Spanish. Yeah. So you usually have to, as she said, make sure you use, you know, the opportunities that come your way. So for me, that's what worked for me. I use my languages, and today, by God's grace, I'm working somewhere I can't mention on TV, sadly.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry.
I was expecting that. I needed it.
I really can't, but then I'm grateful to God that I'm here right now, and I'm still a model.
Okay.
Yes, so it's really going great for me.
For you.
Yeah, but then that's usually the challenge. It's very difficult to really find yourself, you know, after the whole fame, and then you are everywhere, you're shining, everybody's hearing about Engracia, 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 and then everybody's actually expecting to see where you're going to be, what's next for you. Yeah, but then so far, so good, I would say.
In the middle of deciding whether you wanted to pursue translation or translating languages and being a beauty queen, did you ever find yourself in the middle where you were like, I don't know what I want to do after this?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
So many times. Even deciding to, being a translator was really not part of my plans.
Oh.
Even being a beauty queen, by the way. Yeah.
This entire you was not part of the plan.
Never.
Tell me about it.
I think that's life, really. It is usually not the way we planned it.
Yeah.
Yes. So it just happened. I'm a beauty queen. It is a plus when you enter a room set. Everybody's like, oh, she's a beauty queen. She's Miss Universe. Like, okay, then let me own it, of course. Yeah. And I speak French and Spanish. Of course, let me own it.
Yeah.
So I made sure I just grabbed every opportunity that came along. But then at the end of the day, you have to decide what exactly do you want to do with your life, because after this 1 year, what's next? So I just grabbed whatever I had, which was the French and Spanish. By the way, I'm actually a doctorate student in international relations.
Oh, love that.
And it's in line with where I work, actually.
Yes.
So basically, it's made it easy for me, exactly, to be able to connect, as she said, with people, and then use the languages I speak.
Yeah.
So it really made it easy. And I just said, okay, since I have it already, why don't you just, you know, go in line with it. And
how wonderful is it? Because you made a point earlier that when people talked about modeling or pageantry, was almost as if it was for women who were tired of life. Like they didn't know what they wanted to do with their lives. Not tired, but were just missing. And they had a nice body and they just wanted to sell themselves. But look at your former Miss Universe. She is a doctorate student, one.
Oh my God.
She's... Should I continue? Yeah, I mean, look, Jukes, take me to when you were in big conversations, you were in headlines, you were on magazines, right? You were you featured on a magazine, you were on platforms that only God could push you there. Like when you think about it, like, where did she come from and how did she get here? But you were on big platforms, Milan, everywhere. When you put on social media, it was like, oh, Jokwa. How did you land there? Did you fly? After all of this excitement, which was like the peak of your career, was there any point that you were scared of going down, or was there a point where you felt like you were stuck, and how did that feel like?
I think on such platforms, the challenge sometimes is the transition, transitioning from that high-profile role that you're playing into your private life. And I think what people should not forget is that you should always remember that you are you, right? And you shouldn't forget where you're coming from. You shouldn't forget your self-worth. So those platforms are being given to you to be able to serve as empowerment platforms, for advocacy programs, whereby you're able to speak on social issues and all that. So I think life after having all these things should be how best you're able to utilize that platform that has been given to you. How best are you able to create an impact into someone's life after you've dropped the crown in terms of pageantry, without just clinging just to the title, but then how best can you continue making an impact in society, right? And not only focusing on the titles, focusing on the platform only, but being able to, I would say, take yourself off from that and still be able to function well and be well established in your private life. So it comes from the balance, being able to strike a balance and not letting go of your self-worth, forgetting where you're coming from, to say that I was once this, I'm now here. So it now comes into mental issues. There are all these suicidal things that people now fall into and all that. But then how best are you able to carry yourself after going through all these and still remembering that you are you and you need to be authentic?
Yeah. And I love the conversation of constantly reminding us that throughout all your exciting, throughout this exciting journey, it was always the place where you need to remember that you are you, you're this awesome person with or without the crown. Now, without the crown, how did relationships turn for you? Family, friends, and I love the fact that Engracia is laughing because I was ready. I can only imagine what her life was like after family, even men, like, you know, relationship, romantic relationship. How did that become after Miss Universe?
I'm sorry, but yeah.
I know why you're laughing, so let's laugh together and let's tell it the real story. Don't give me half of the story.
No problem. No, so for me, I really had a good time. It was tough, you know. During being a queen, during the whole crowning time, and then that 1 year of being the queen, there was so many challenges. But I had families by me. My dad is like #1 fan. If I post a picture of me in bikini right now, my dad will take it and he will repost and he will share. My dad is like a big fan. My mom, yes, my mom. My brothers, by the way, I don't have a sister, so I have my brothers who are like really there for me.
Oh my God, lucky you.
Well,
I'm telling you, lucky you.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, because your sister, you have to share the crown with your sister.
I know.
Yeah, Miss Universe and she's Deputy Miss Universe. So thank God you don't have a sister you have to share that with.
Right.
Because in my house, I'm a journalist and my little sister is a deputy journalist. She is an editor on her own. She will scrutinize this. She'll be like, young lady, this is not English you speak on TV.
I can imagine.
So not having a sister can be good.
Right, I see that. Yeah, so they are really supportive. They've been really supportive. And I think through Miss Universe as well, I got to have a couple of friends. I didn't really used to have friends and all that. Yeah, so I had people who really.
So did your cycle change? Your circle of friends change?
Never. And that's something I'm really strong with. I'll probably say I really like to keep people who were with me when I was nobody, and then people, the same people as well when I'm someone. I mean, just along my lifeline. So the relationship didn't really change. I think I just grew to know myself better, to know people around me better, to become a better person. Personally.
Now we're going to the big conversation.
But yeah,
tell me.
No, so I was dating, so I had a boyfriend. Oh my God. Yeah, we were really good. Nothing changed. He was really supportive. Unfortunately, we are not together anymore. So yeah, I'm single.
But do you think that the new you might have contributed to that?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No, not at all. Nothing with that. He was really supportive. When I had hair, when I didn't have hair, he was there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I love that. But that transition, you who had hair and you who didn't have hair, what was it about? Was it a personal decision or you were forced into it?
Oh, never. I can never be forced into anything. No. So some people were even saying that it was probably a strategy I used. Yeah. Because during my time, I was the only one who was bald. Yes. Yeah, everybody else had hair on. Yeah. It was no strategy, honestly. Every time they ask me the real answer, I tell them that I had to cut down costs, so I had to take decisions. Oh yeah, and I think if you mean it, you should be able to do it. That's just my personal decision I took. And honestly, being bald was like the best decision that year. Yeah. I mean, taking your shower, this is really out of it, but then taking your shower and not having to think of going to the salon, you know, paying for washing and then braiding your hair and all these expenses was just perfect. And I learned how to, you know, like cut my hair myself. Yeah. It was a great experience. I loved it, and I'm probably going back.
You'll be going back to
most likely, yeah.
Yeah, because I also heard that you had a condition that you needed to cut to your hair.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had that.
Oh wow.
It was no condition.
Please, no condition. I'm perfectly fine.
But you just wanted to cut down costs. That's very strategic, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smart girl. Yeah. You're not about to pay for hair that we don't have money
we're not
for.
doing that.
Yeah. So for you, when you became Jukes, because I think I want to dare say, should I say it? Should I tell them? I should tell them.
Which one?
Which one? The beginning side. The beginning side. Let me tell them. Let me brag. Please, bragging rights. I was there when she started. And I remember because the agency you were with at the time was my sister's agency, and I remember how she was so invested. She was like, "No, this is the girl. She's the one." I'm like, "But what do you see in this girl?" But from that place to all the levels that you've had to climb to, did it change your circle? Did it affect family? Did it affect even the journey of life, relationship, and all of that? Tell me about your experience.
Okay, so as she said, she came from the family perspective, so I would like to come from the friends perspective. So I think when it comes to the friends, for me, I learned mutual support, and then also I was able to learn how to manage expectations. Because I think through all that, people would have expectations of you, friends are coming here and there. And for me also to be able to manage the scrutiny that was coming along the way. And she said something that I can equally relate to, sticking to the people that were there with you and those who have still been there as you've risen up. So I think those people, those category of people are very important in one's life, that you shouldn't just take them for granted because they were there with you, they were breaking their backs for you, and then you're still up there and they're still going all out for you. And it would be unfair on your part to say that because you are up here, you're now going to look down upon them, and then your circle has changed and all that. But then to be able to also carry them along. Like I said, these platforms are supposed to be used to empower people. So once you get that platform, you need to pull your friends along, and they also need to benefit from that platform that you have attained in life, and not just brush them away and say that you are going to form a new circle of friends and all that.
Any lessons you both have learned on this journey of becoming this wonderful woman that you are? Me, I admire you because I promise you, I only saw a runway girl that could have done runway and maybe excelled. I am not a prophet, so I can't see beyond that. Some people have foresight. They'll be like, the way I see this girl moving her leg, she'll become queen of something. I didn't have that foresight. So I looked at you as a young lady who just had passion, because clearly there was passion in your eyes every single time.
There was.
And everybody saw it. I won't lie. It was in her eyes. It was burning. Everybody could tell. When you get into it, you could tell who was serious about what, even their rehearsals and all of that. You could tell. But I couldn't see beyond that. I personally couldn't see, maybe because I was also struggling with my own things. With all of this, any lessons you've learned as a young lady going through this journey? You want to tell me that?
I would say the first and foremost thing is to be authentic. Be yourself. Because sometimes when you try to succumb to the pressures that comes with it, you might lose yourself along the way. And what you might not want to do is lose yourself and become something completely different. So being authentic, having the passion first and foremost also, you need to be able to dedicate time to what you say you love, because you cannot achieve something if you're not dedicating the right amount of time to it. You need to make the sacrifices. Nothing comes easy. I think some people think there is always shortcuts to life, trying to cut processes here and there, but you need to go through the process. You need to subject yourself to whatever pressures that is coming with it, and be able to say that I'm going to be authentic, I'm going to be myself, I'm going to chase my dreams the right way, and put in all the amount of work that's needed to get where you want to be.
You, Engracia?
For me, I usually tell people, anybody watching me or anybody who looks up to me, don't forget where you come from and know where you're going. Know who you are, know where you come from, and know where you're going, and stand by your morals. I'm someone who really stands by my morals. I'm a Christian, yes, and I stand firm on it. So just know who you are, know where you come from, and know where you're going, and just stay focused.
Any form of pressure on any of you, whether it's in the modeling world or even as a past queen, for you to get into areas that you know in your heart that, but just because you want to stay relevant, have you ever felt any level of pressure to do something to be in the limelight, because you have been there and you know what it tastes like?
Yes. Several times. As a beauty queen, you get invited to a lot of events. A lot of events, in quotes. There are some events that, there are a lot of things that happen in this world you have no idea of. So you get invited to so many events, and you are tempted to go there because you know that if you get there, you are going to meet some kind of people.
The creme de la creme
you know,
of the industries.
Of course. But then you need to know who you are. You need to know what you really want for yourself. Is it where you want to find yourself? Is it what you really want to do with your life? And once you step in there, there's no going back. Do you really want to do that? So for me, I think I really know who I wanted to be. Who I want, I know who I want to, where I want to see myself in the next 5 years or next 10 years. So yes, you have to make sacrifices, I should say. You have to be very disciplined. You need to know what you want. So if you know this is not what you want, it's a no-no. And you have to stand on it, because in this industry, in the determined industry, people are definitely going to, oh, let's just go. Oh, you can just stay for like an hour or 30 minutes, then you can go. By the time you get there, it will be difficult for you to say, I'm going back home. So you need to stand like from the beginning. No, this is not who I am. I stand by, this is what I do, this is how I live my life. And everybody's going to respect. Nobody is going to force you unless you allow yourself to be forced into it.
How about marriage? Have you ever been pressured to like, Engracia, when are you getting married? Engracia, when would this man come? And do you have men looking at you as, is she even marriage material? Tell me about that.
I mean, and this is an issue I think a lot of ladies in the modeling industry or pageant world face, you know. You have a lot of men who come your way and are like, she's a model or she's a beauty queen. I don't think she's serious. She's someone that I would just want to play around with and live. And then you even face it in your close relationships, you know. You have people who really doubt the fact that you are probably a wife material, let me put it that way. But then, yeah, I've had a couple of people, even unknown people, just tell me that she's a model. Oh, she's one of those models. She's one of those beauty queens. They are just all the same. Yeah, until you actually speak, until they hear that probably you're an engineer or you're a translator, and they're like, oh, she has something up here. She's not just a beauty queen. She's not just, exactly, it's quite sad. But from my family, I mean, my parents, big up to them, big up to my dad and my mom. They're like the best ever. But I know, you know how moms can be. Yeah. Girl, time, you need to, you know. Yeah. But then, I mean, beyond all that, they're really supportive. They tell me, take your time, just be happy. My parents, they believe in love and then just be happy. Live your life to the best, because that's what matters. If someone comes along the way, fine. If someone doesn't come, you still have a life. You can't, you know, you can't be living your life expecting to just have a man. Life doesn't, you know, rotate around.
Evolve around.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's more to it. Even we can talk about it knowing very well that you as well want to have someone by you, of course, but then you need to explore other areas of your life. So I'm just living. If it comes, if the good one comes, yes, we go for it. Why not?
Okay, you?
Yeah, I think for me, I haven't had to succumb to any negative pressure, because I was brought up in a Christian home, and I stick to my Christian values and all that. So anytime I go into any challenge, I fall back on God. And there's one particular scripture that I like so much.
Hit me with
that helps me in everything. And it's in Luke chapter 1, verse 37, which says, with God, all things are possible, right? So anytime I'm being faced with any challenge, anytime I go into any problem, I just go on my knees and I pray that, God, I want to get here. You said in your word that with you all things are possible. So I'm relying on you to make a way for me. And then God miraculously makes a way. So I do not always hasten going down on my knees to pray. So I don't have to succumb to the pressures of whereby I need to, quote unquote, sleep with a man or do something of the sort to get to where I want to be. But I've always fall back on God, that God, I need you to help me with this. And I study the scriptures so much, so I know some of the verses that God himself said. So anytime I go on my knees and I'm saying, God, you said this, you said this, And there's even another one in, I think, 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9, which says, for what no one ever saw or heard, what no one ever thought could happen, would be the very thing that happens to those who love and serve. So anytime I go before God, I say, God, you said in your word, let what no one has ever seen be the things that happen to me, right? So I'm a God baby. And I do not...
Our team name is Jesus Baby. It's a club. And she got enrolled in it unknowingly, but she said Jesus Baby.
So I have not had to deal with that kind of thing whereby ladies need to go naked to do certain things, or maybe fall under pressures from men and all that. But then I stick to my Bible. I'm quick to pray to God to help me in life, because with him all things are possible. And I'm a living testimony.
Yes.
He's opened bigger doors.
I'm the one who testified for you, Johua. Because you people should have met her. You will never see a model in here. I'm telling you the truth, and you know that this is a testimony that we have to open conference to let you come and give the testimony, because you will not see it. And every time my sister said, Mimi, you don't know. I said, Nana, are you sure? This chick, because she was so focused, she was so determined. When she enters the room, nobody can talk to her anyhow. But then there was just something that was burning inside her. And so I can testify for her. Once she said Jesus baby, of course, proudly so. And then she's killed it on different levels. Now, when it comes to the conversation of marriage, have we started giving me? I've not given you pressure, so I know at least from my side, I've not told you to go and get married. But for you, do you ever get those pressures, and how does it feel like having to be questioned?
I think it was along the same angle that she was coming from. My dad has been very supportive, but sometimes my mom, right? But then I also understand it because it's coming from a good place, and I appreciate her so much for doing that. And she keeps me in check, making sure that I learn how to do personal grooming and all, prepare myself and all of that. So those pressures are not negative pressures. I would say positive pressures in the sense. And yeah, I'm single. And I know that it's in the pipeline.
It's in the pipeline. You're not single, or you're single?
I'm single
for now.
Yes,
but it's in the pipeline.
It's in the pipeline. It's
yes,
in the
because
divine pipeline.
Divine pipeline. Because you know what's good? That you will find the person who sees you beyond what the world sees. It's so important, because the industries we find ourselves in is very challenging, and it's only a person who understands who needs to be here. If you don't understand, you do have no business being here. Because this only gets better with the right people, with the right people in your circle. And that's my little word for you. But then your final words to people out there, beyond the crown, beyond the Engracia, and beyond the jukes that everybody sees, there has been a story. And the story is still unfolding, because you only get better from here. Any final words to people out there with regards to this conversation, and even people who are aspiring to be in pageantry, in modeling, and in that industry? Anything you'd like to tell them before we wrap up the conversation? All
I'm going to say is just be you, know where you come from, know where you're going, and trust the process. And have God with you, very important. If you're a Christian anyways, trust the process.
I would say God first,
yes,
and then have the dream and the passion. And I think once you're able to toe in the line of your purpose in life, you'd be able to get to where you're going.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining me. If you people notice, this particular show, anytime we're having conversations, it comes from here, that it gets heated. These ladies have given me Engracia the entire show. They didn't allow the bass me to wake up. They kept it very graceful, and that tells you that they take this thing so seriously. It was on very short notice we got you, but this conversation was so important for us to have beyond the crown, because we've seen a lot of people get confused, get lost in drugs, in different areas where they didn't want to find themselves, even in the wrong hands. Sometimes even in wrong marriages, because they were in the limelight, they were found in the limelight. They didn't know what to do after that. But you ladies have made us so proud. And like I said, in different rooms I enter, I'm like, why is this guy doing it? But clearly, your purpose has driven you into rooms that you could have ordinarily not been in. And for you, we have to open a book and start telling your story, because as a mineral engineer, you had no business in the pageantry world, but you've killed it on both sides. And you, girl, bye. You people. But it's always, like I said, the tagline is progressive women. Women who have decided that this life is already hard. I'm not about to make it harder for myself. I'm going to wake up every morning and make it happen regardless of the obstacles I'm faced with. And this is one of the conversations that I want you to watch over and over again. Listen to their stories, because we're going to try and find a way. Maybe we should get on a Twitter space or something.
Yeah, why not?
Right? Yeah, we should do this. My producer can get it happen, make it happen. So we can extend the conversation for people out there, because social media has taken over the conversations, right? We can also extend it over there. Thank you, ladies, so much for coming. I love you, but Jesus loves you more.
Thank you.
And I know that this only gets better from here. Now, to you out there, I hope you learned a thing or two for you who is excited about being in the pageantry and, of course, the model world, it's important, or it's imperative to learn these lessons. A big thank you to Deco Zone for jumping on board with us. Cowbell Coffee, Flora Tissue, Betway, Tango Washing Powder, Telecel, Clap, Shandy, and LPG. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been another beautiful episode of The Dish right here on MX24. Make sure to join us on all social media platforms. It is The Dish. Of course, hashtag is The Dish on MX, but MX24 on all social media platforms. My name is Miriam Udwa-Kumensa. See you again next week.